Life often throws us into storms we never expect, but what defines us is how we rise. This is the story of Nonso, a boy from a humble village who faced unimaginable struggles, yet dared to dream beyond his circumstances. Betrayed, broken, but never defeated. Nonso's journey from a plantain hawker to a community hero will leave you inspired and motivated. Stay tuned to witness a tale of resilience, integrity, and the unbreakable human spirit. Let's dive into this unforgettable journey together. Nonso, a bright young boy from Abor village, had everything he could ever wish for: a loving father, a caring mother, and a life filled with contentment. His father, Ogbuefi Nnanyere, was a respected carpenter, known for his craftsmanship and his devotion to his family. His mother, Ijego, was a petite and beautiful woman who sold wares at the bustling village markets. Together, they raised Nonso and his sister Ifed in a home filled with love and laughter. But as life often reminds us, perfection can be fleeting. One day, tragedy struck and everything changed. The sun cast a golden glow on Ogbuefi Nnanyere's modest home, where laughter echoes through the air. Ogbuefi stands tall, his broad shoulders and kind face exuding warmth. Ijego, her petite frame wrapped in a brightly colored wrapper, stands beside him, holding a basket of goods. Nonso, a slim, energetic boy with sparkling eyes, plays with his younger sister Ifed, whose breasts bounce as she giggles. The bustling market in the city is chaotic, with traders shouting and vehicles honking. Ogbuefi Nnanyere is among the crowd, negotiating for materials. Suddenly, armed robbers appear and gunshots pierce the air. The chaos escalates and Ogbuefi, caught in the crossfire, collapses to the ground and died. After the death of Ogbuefi Nnanyere, Nonso's father, things went difficult for Ijego and her children. That made Nonso to start hawking plantains in order to help to raise money for their upkeep. But when things got worse, Nonso had to drop out of school for his sister Ifed to continue. Despite the pain, the family clings to each other, finding strength in their bond. Nonso walks along a dusty road, balancing his tray of plantains on his head, shouting, buy plantain, as usual, when a sleek black car stops and the window rolls down to reveal a well-dressed man with a kind smile. Is Mr. Chukwuma, a wealthy businessman. He called on Nonso to buy plantain. He asks Nonso why he isn't in school, and Nonso shares his heartbreaking story. Mr. Chukwuma listens intently, his expression softening. After everything, he paid for his plantain and drove off while Nonso continued with his business. One evening, as the family prepares for the next day, a luxury car drives into their compound. The headlights illuminate their simple home. Nonso runs out, excitedly calling his mother. Mr. Chukwuma steps out, wearing a crisp white abada and matching cap. He introduces himself and shares his intentions to help Nonso, promising to take him to Lagos and mentor him. After all their discussions, the day comes for Nonso to leave. His mother wipes her tears as she packs his bag, and Ifed hugs him tightly. Nonso promises to work hard and return successful. Mr. Chukwuma stands nearby, watching the family with a solemn expression before ushering Nonso into the car. As Nonso stepped into Mr. Chukwuma's sprawling compound in Lagos, his eyes widened. The house was grand, with polished marble floors, gleaming chandeliers, and a lush garden. Nonso was greeted by Ngozi, Mr. Chukwuma's beautiful but sharp-eyed wife, and their three children, Ikenna, Chidi, and Ujunwa. "Welcome, Nonso," Ngozi said warmly, her voice soft and inviting. The children circled around him, curious about the new face. Mr. Chukwuma introduced Nonso to the household, including the other boys who worked under him. Though the welcome seemed warm, Nonso felt a strange undercurrent of tension from the other servants. As days turned into weeks, Nonso quickly adapted to his new life, earning the admiration of Mr. Chukwuma with his hard work and honesty. But behind closed doors, Ngozi had other plans. One evening, while Nonso was arranging goods in the storeroom, Ngozi walked in, her perfume thick in the air. She leaned against the door frame, her smile too familiar. "Nonso, you are such a hard-working boy," she said, her voice dripping with false sweetness. "You know, I can make your life easier if you let me." Nonso straightened up, his face hardening. "Madam, with all due respect, I can't do what you are asking. Please, don't try this again." But Ngozi didn't stop. She kept finding ways to corner Nonso, whispering suggestive comments when no one was around. Ngozi, angered by Nonso's refusal, began planting seeds of distrust. She whispered lies to Mr. Chukwuma, claiming Nonso was lazy and disrespectful. Mr. Chukwuma, though skeptical, began punishing Nonso for minor mistakes. The other servants, led by Ifeanyi, also turned against Nonso, fueled by jealousy over his rising status. Ifeanyi had been the head boy, trusted with managing the business's finances, but that changed when Nonso arrived. Ngozi and Ifeanyi hatched a plan to ruin Nonso. Ngozi forged Nonso's signature on a check for 5 million naira, withdrawing the money herself. Meanwhile, Ifeanyi sold goods worth of 6 million naira without recording them. When Mr. Chukwuma discovered the missing funds, he summoned Nonso. "Nonso, where is the money?" Mr. Chukwuma's voice was sharp. "Sir, I don't know anything about this," Nonso replied, his voice steady but nervous. He explained his side, but Mr. Chukwuma's suspicion lingered. Later that evening, Nonso confronted Ngozi, their madam, in the dining room. "Madam, why are you doing this to me? What did I ever do to deserve this?" he asked, his voice breaking. Ngozi, sensing an opportunity, dismissed her maid, Ogade, and approached Nonso with a sly smile. You know, Nonso, all this can go away if you just give me what I want. When Nonso refused again, Ngozi screamed and shouted, tearing her blouse and collapsing on the ground. Help, oh, help. Who is there? Who is there? Help me, oh, help me, oh. Nonso is trying to rape me, oh. Nonso is trying to rape me. Hey, hey, help me, oh. She cried. When Mr. Chukwuma returned and heard Ngozi's accusation, he didn't wait for an explanation. His fury blinded him. Nonso, I trusted you. How could you? He roared before calling the police. Nonso was dragged away in handcuffs, his protest drowned out by Ngozi's wails. In the prison cell, Nonso sat on the cold floor, replaying the events in his mind. Why is this happening to me? He whispered to himself. Nonso sat in the cold prison cell, his thoughts a whirlwind of anger, confusion, and despair. The other inmates occasionally cast him curious glances, but no one dared to approach the young man who looked lost in a sea of betrayal. Days turned into weeks, and no word came from Mr. Chukwuma or anyone who could help him. One day, an elderly man named Babatunde, one of the inmates, approached him. Young man, Babatunde said, his voice calm but wise. What brought you here? Nonso hesitated before pouring out his story. Babatunde listened intently, nodding occasionally. You have a pure heart, my boy, he finally said. Do not lose hope. Sometimes the truth has a way of revealing itself, even when the world conspires against you. Nonso clung to those words, though hope felt like a distant dream. Meanwhile, back at home, Mr. Chukwuma was beginning to notice cracks in Ngozi's story. Customers began complaining about discrepancies in goods and finances that dated back long before Nonso's arrival. Moreover, the other servants, emboldened by Nonso's absence, started slacking off and revealing their true characters. One evening, while reviewing his account books, Mr. Chukwuma stumbled upon a check with Ngozi's handwriting disguised as Nonso's signature. He froze, his mind racing. Why would Ngozi need to forge Nonso's signature? He decided to dig deeper. As Mr. Chukwuma investigated, Ifeanyi grew nervous. One evening, as Ifeanyi tried to slip away with some stolen goods, a security guard caught him. Under pressure, Ifeanyi confessed to his thefts and revealed his alliance with Ngozi, their madam, to frame Nonso. When Mr. Chukwuma heard the confession, he felt a mix of rage and regret. Ngozi, he muttered under his breath, his fist clenching. What have you done? The following day, Mr. Chukwuma went to the police station armed with evidence of Nonso's innocence. He demanded Nonso's release and apologized profusely. When Nonso walked out of the cell, his face was pale and his body looked frail, but his eyes still held a glimmer of determination. Nonso, I am so sorry, Mr. Chukwuma said, his voice heavy with guilt. I should have believed you. Please come back home. I will make things right. Nonso looked at him, the pain of betrayal clear on his face. I will come home, sir, but not because of you. I need to clear my name for my family. Back at the house, Ngozi was unprepared for Mr. Chukwuma's fury. He confronted her in the presence of the entire household. Ngozi, I trusted you, and you repaid me with lies and betrayal, he roared. Ngozi tried to deny it, but the evidence was overwhelming when Mr. Chukwuma presented the forged check and Ifeanyi's confession. She broke down, begging for forgiveness. You will leave this house today, Mr. Chukwuma declared. And don't think you can take the children with you. You have lost the right to call yourself their mother. After Ngozi's departure, Nonso returned to the business, determined to rebuild his reputation. Customers who had heard about his wrongful imprisonment flocked back, eager to support him. His dedication and honesty became the talk of Lagos. One day, a major client told Mr. Chukwuma, "This boy of yours, Nonso, will go far. You are lucky to have him." Mr. Chukwuma, still trying to atone for his mistake, promised to settle Nonso in grand style when his time of service was over. Months passed, and Nonso's hard work began paying off. He had learned every aspect of the business, from sourcing goods to dealing with customers. Despite the lingering bitterness toward Mr. Chukwuma, Nonso focused on his goals. One evening, after a long day, Mr. Chukwuma sat Nonso down. "You have served me well, Nonso," he said, his voice softer than usual. "I want to keep my promise and settle you. Tell me, what do you want to do with your life?" Nonso paused, the weight of his dreams pressing heavily on him. "I want to start my own business, sir," he said firmly. "I want to make my family proud and ensure my sister never suffers again." Impressed by Nonso's determination, Mr. Chukwuma agreed to help him set up a shop in Lagos and promised to mentor him as he starts his own journey. Meanwhile, Ngozi, banished and disgraced, was stewing in anger. She had moved back to her family home, but her pride wouldn't let her rest. "That boy ruined my life," she hissed to herself. "I will not let him succeed." Ngozi reached out to Ifeanyi, who had fled Lagos after his exposure. Together, they plotted to destroy Nonso's budding business. "We will make it look like he's been stealing goods and selling them on the side," Ngozi said. "Once his reputation is gone, he will have nothing left." One day, while Nonso was managing his shop, Ifeanyi showed up, pretending to be a repentant man seeking forgiveness. "I know I have wronged you," Ifeanyi said, bowing his head, "but I have changed. Please let me help you," he said. Nonso, ever kind-hearted, allowed Ifeanyi to work in his shop. Little did he know Ifeanyi was planting false evidence of theft. A few weeks later, Ngozi filed a report with the Market Association accusing Nonso of selling stolen goods. When the authorities arrived at his shop, they found goods marked with Mr. Chukwuma's company label hidden in the back room. Nonso was arrested on the spot, his cries of innocence falling on deaf ears. Back at home, Mr. Chukwuma heard about Nonso's arrest and rushed to the market. As he questioned the officials, he noticed inconsistencies in their evidence. Determined to clear Nonso's name, he launched his own investigation. His efforts uncovered surveillance footage showing Ifeanyi sneaking into the shop late at night with the marked goods. Furious, Mr. Chukwuma confronted Ngozi, who denied everything until faced with undeniable proof. "You are worse than I ever imagined," Mr. Chukwuma said coldly. "You have tried to destroy an innocent man's life twice. You are no longer part of this family. You are wicked." Ngozi was left speechless as Mr. Chukwuma stormed out, vowing to ensure justice for Nonso. Nonso was released from custody and his name was cleared. The Market Association apologized publicly and customers returned to his shop in droves. Seeing Nonso's resilience, Mr. Chukwuma offered to help expand his business beyond Lagos. With the settlement money and Mr. Chukwuma's mentorship, Nonso opened branches in Abuja and Port Harcourt. His story of perseverance became an inspiration to many. One day, during a family meeting, Nonso stood up and addressed his mother and sister, Ifed. "We've been through so much, but it's made us stronger," he said. "This is the beginning of a new chapter for us." Years passed, and Nonso's success grew exponentially. He became a respected businessman known for his honesty, resilience, and hard work. He ensured that his mother, Ijego, and his sister, Ifed, lived comfortably. Ifed completed her education and became a teacher, fulfilling her dream of giving back to society. One day, Nonso was invited to give a speech at a youth empowerment seminar. Standing before a large audience, he shared his story. "I was once a boy who hawked plantains on the streets, but I never let hardship define me. Hard work, integrity, and faith kept me going, even when life seemed hopeless. Remember, your beginnings don't determine your destiny. Your decisions do." The audience erupted in applause, inspired by his words. While Nonso flourished, Ngozi's life spiraled downward. After being disowned by her husband, she returned to her family, who scorned her for her actions. Isolated and regretful, she tried to reach out to Nonso for forgiveness, but he kept his distance, though he prayed for her peace. One day, she saw Nonso on TV delivering a motivational speech. Seeing how far he had come made her break down in tears. "I destroyed myself trying to destroy him," she muttered, realizing the gravity of her mistakes. Nonso's achievements did not make him forget his roots. He returned to Abor village to set up a scholarship program for underprivileged children. On the day of the program's launch, villagers gathered to celebrate their own son, who had risen from humble beginnings to greatness. As Nonso addressed the crowd, he spotted tears in his mother's eyes. "We lost so much, but we gained strength," he said, holding her hand. "This is my way of ensuring no child here has to drop out of school like I did." The crowd erupted into cheers, singing his praises. Thank you for watching. This is where our story ends. But before we conclude it, let's look into our moral lessons. Resilience in the face of hardship. Nonso's journey teaches us that perseverance and hard work can overcome even the most challenging circumstances. The power of integrity. Despite temptations and false accusations, Nonso's honesty earned him respect and success. Kindness reward in the end. Mr. Chukwuma's willingness to help Nonso changed his life, proving that small acts of kindness can have a lasting impact. Actions have consequences. Ngozi's downfall served as a reminder that deceit and malice ultimately lead to self-destruction. The importance of giving back. Nonso's decision to support his village demonstrates the value of lifting others as we climb. With his unwavering spirit and a heart full of gratitude, Nonso became a beacon of hope, inspiring others to rise above their struggles and build a brighter future. This concludes our story. Thank you once again for watching, and don't forget to subscribe, like, comment and share, and also touch the bell button so that you will be notified each time we put out new video. Subscribe for more stories with powerful life lessons. Please and please subscribe to help us grow our channel, and please don't forget to leave your comments in the comment section. We will come back to answer any question you put out there. God bless you all as you do so. Bye-bye. Love you. Mwah.